Hello humans, and welcome to the Let's Quest podcast, where we dive deep into the wonderful world of board games. Every episode I'll be sitting down with a fellow gamer to explore this awesome hobby of ours. We'll start by chatting through what we've been playing lately, then we'll dig into the topic of the week, and finally we'll open the Game Master's Mailbag. That's where my guest and I try and find you your perfect game. So, grab a drink, take your seat, and let's quest. Okay, and my guest is the one and only Matt Cahill.
Yes, hello. You've probably all heard of me.
So Matt and I, we've known each other a long time, haven't we, Matt? But I've dubbed everyone in my kind of gaming group with a title or moniker.
I don't know what mine is. No.
Yeah, I can't say it on the podcast, but no, I've dubbed you the War Gamer. Because
okay, I can take
out
that.
of all of the friends that we have in the group, no one else is as much into the war games as you are.
Just full of anger.
Yes. And the grim, dark person that you are.
Yeah. To the core.
Yeah. Well, which is why I wanted to sort of bring you on, and I thought it would be useful to have your take on it, because war games are quite different from just, not that you don't play normal board games or normal board games, but it's definitely a different avenue. It's something like Warhammer particularly is something that I've always looked at from afar, painted the miniatures and all that kind of stuff. But I've always been a bit scared to jump into it, because I don't think I could finance both my board game collection and a Warhammer collection. Would you say that's probably smart? Or?
It's hard to finance on its own, let alone another board game. So what I've done is I've outsourced my board game collecting. I do it vicariously through you. So I collect one very specific game, and then I've allowed you to collect the rest of them.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Smart.
Yeah.
And the good thing is about that is you can borrow them playing in my games, but I wouldn't know what the first thing to do with any of your armies or stuff to do.
Oh yeah, so. The first thing that made me get into Warhammer was, do I have to share it? And the answer was no. So
no. So yeah, first off, the first segment is to talk about what we've been playing lately. And I'm just what have you been? Any good games lately that you've been playing?
So believe it or not, the most recent gaming session I had was with you.
Oh yeah.
And we played Nemesis, but I forget the name of the updated version. Nemesis Retaliation. So we played that, and the other, this is terrible memory. The other game.
Wait, is it the one we played?
We played before Nemesis. What was that?
We played Arcs.
See, I was thinking that it was called Arcs, and I thought, no, because that's because I've been playing Arc Raiders.
Yeah,
but no,
it
is Arcs.
It is Arcs, yeah. So, I mean, we did the sort of the thing you're not supposed to do, but everyone wants to do, which is we played two very big games on the same day, which, as a war gamer, I'm sure you normally have the stamina for. But yeah, by the time we got to the end of Nemesis Retaliation, I think everyone was a bit like out of it. But yeah, both big games, very different. I feel like the running theme of this podcast is going to end up being talking about Nemesis, because every time I'm sort of like, because I'm so into Nemesis that I can just basically link anything to it. But yeah, great game, very tough. I found Nemesis Retaliation very tough, despite what Reddit told me I should have thought about it, which is that I was very easy and I need to get good. But I think some randomness in there. It's just tough.
Well, I found that particular session really easy. Worked out brilliantly for me. So.
Yeah, I know it did. Yeah. Well, because we had two traitors, right? We had. Well, were you a traitor, or were you just not interested in what was normally happening? You just had your own thing going on, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the opportunity to jump into a skateboard came up. It wasn't what I had planned to do.
Yeah,
and then the next room I walked into discovered was that, and I thought, you know what? I'm out.
Okay, go on. Yeah, I've realised that I say Nemesis, but we haven't actually said what Nemesis is. So I should probably say what it is.
Or what the topic is. But it is relevant to the topic.
Is. It is relative to the topic. So maybe, we can move into the main topic of today, which is, does winning matter in board games? Which, Yeah, I've got kind of like mixed feelings on this because, from my point of view, as someone who plays a lot of board games and both wins and loses a lot of board games, it's much of a muchness for me. I'm not that fussed about winning or losing. What I really want is an interesting game and a fun experience with friends. Like, that's paramount to me. Um, I would rather lose like completely, but then know that like the game we were playing was fun and I had a shot maybe at one point, or I was part of a big moment in the game or something like that. But I'm not overly fussed about a win, if that makes sense. And also, I teach a lot of games at the table, like I'm hosting a lot, and it would be a bit funny if I was just constantly like, just absolutely really, really bothered about winning because I'm also the one who's the only person at the table who's normally read all the rules, so and knows the game.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I like to think that I don't care about winning. And you've
Yeah,
played games with me, so you know that I never let the state of a game have any impact on my feelings or my
sure.
motivation, because I'm perfect in that way. But
Yes.
it's an interesting one because I think losing is as much of a skill as winning. Um,
Hmm.
Being a good opponent or being a good competitor, a good sport within a game, I think is really important because you affect how other people experience that game.
Hmm.
It's something I definitely try not to let affect
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I'll tell you when it's tough is sometimes I think maybe it's better to start with my experiences playing Warhammer and how that I think that
yeah.
differs
Sure.
to
Well,
board games.
that was one thing I was definitely going to ask you about because board games and wargaming and any of that kind of competitive world, like a Magic the Gathering and all that, I've played, countertop with you, like we just sort of having a laugh with Magic
Mm.
the Gathering and 1v1, but it's all just been a bit of fun. But the idea of actually being into wargaming is a lot more of a time investment. So yeah, it would be cool to hear what your experience with that is.
It's a really tough thing to talk about in terms of what do you enjoy about it because when we all get together, the people I play regularly with, we always make a joke at a tournament of like we're not here to enjoy ourselves, which and sometimes it can really feel like that. But I think it's unique in a gaming sense. Maybe not unique, but it's separated from a lot of board games in that
Mm,
you spend a lot of money buying the miniatures first of all and your
yeah.
rule set and then you build all the miniatures, so that's a big time investment. And then you paint all of the miniatures, and
Yeah.
then you build a list based on a point system. So there's this kind of opportunity to demonstrate knowledge and skill expression and a
Mm,
unique approach to the game. So that adds a sort of a personal sense of success or failure into the mix.
sure.
Then you might buy a ticket for an event. Then you might pay for accommodation if the event's far away and you've
Yeah.
given up your weekend over a 2 day event. So all of those
Gosh. Yeah.
things stack up so that when you're playing, you can get into a mindset if you're not careful of going, right, well, I've lost a couple of games here. I've given up a Saturday. I spent all of this money. I've wasted all this time, and it's all been for nothing.
Mm,
Plus, there's a unique thing in Warhammer in that maybe again not unique, but unusual in that the rules change quite often. So they do things
sure.
called a balanced data slate, and the rules for your particular army that you've put all of that time into might
Yeah.
suddenly be rubbish now. So you can go, you could start playing a game, and it's going to take up to 3 hours for this game, and you know you've lost it because someone has far better rules than you, and
Well,
that
you
is a
mean
really
wow, wow. So hold on. So you mean that you could have you've done your research, you've got yourself ready, you've painted. This is like on the sort of 3 months leading up to a tournament. You because obviously you're building your army up, presumably saving up to get the army you want or whatever, and building blah blah blah, all that, and then you could turn up to tournament day and like a week before the tournament they do a new rule set and you go, oh, my blah blah army is nowhere near as good
it could
anymore.
be a week before, and I'm probably being a bit reductive in that there is obviously skill does come into it, and just because
Sure.
your rules aren't as good doesn't mean you can't win.
Yeah.
It can make some games feel like some armies might get new rules that feel very non-interactive, and you just have to
Right.
sit and take it until you lose.
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
that can be a challenge.
I can totally see how, because one of the games I was going to mention was Twilight Imperium, because of all the sort of board games I have. Twilight Imperium, fourth edition is this big. It's like the Super Bowl of board games, right? I don't think we've ever played together, but I mean, I've
No,
played it. it's the game that's so hard to get to the table because it is this all-day affair. That I've only actually ever played a handful of games, really, despite listening to tens, maybe hundreds of hours of the podcast for it. Space Cats, Peace Turtles. But yeah, like that is probably the closest I've got in terms of, there's a lot of prep that's gone into it. We pick our factions 2 weeks out. People start texting each other like little alliances and stuff. Then you play for 8 hours of the day, or maybe more. So then by the time you're at the end of it, you by the nature of the game, you feel more invested. And then if you've just, someone at that table will probably inevitably be feeling like, I do not have a shot here, and I am still here. And, it would be rude at this point for me to just leave, but I'm not going to win. So like if you added on top of that, oh yeah, well, I've also taken the time out. I've paid loads of money for this. I've, the time and effort and energy. And I didn't even think about that. But yeah, of course, you're traveling, it must kind of really ramp up the pressure. It must be quite a big mental game to not just sort of fall into this pit of like you said at the beginning, being a good loser. Like you kind of got to still keep the sort of, I don't know, levity up, or at least, I don't know, professionalism's not the right word, but kind of like being a good
isn't it?
Sportsmanship.
Yeah. I think I've been a bad opponent at times when I felt really dejected by it, and I've also been on the other end of it. So when it's also a dice game, so there's so much randomness, and I've just had games where my dice have been good and my opponents have been bad, and they become dejected and they just close down, and then it's almost like they're just going through the motions. They're not watching the game anymore. They're not interested. They're on their phone. They're just sort of let's get it over with.
Yeah,
which is even. It's horrible because you feel like, well, I've paid for this experience. This is fun. And they're feeling the same. Like, I've paid for this experience, and now I'm losing. So it adds in this whole extra level of stress. But then the way that I try to look at it is that even if you lose, it's not a complete loss. Like, you haven't wasted time if you're willing to learn from it. And I guess that happens for Twilight Imperium as well. If you know you're going to play the game again, then there's something you can gain from having lost, in that you can figure out what went wrong and what you would do differently.
Yeah, I can say, I feel like, maybe for people who are playing Twilight Imperium a lot, that it kind of, they might feel like that. I think for me, I'm just there for the theme of it, like the kind of fun of it. I think that does speak to, because I'm someone who plays a lot of board games, I am less fussed about the win and loss of board games. Like, I think if I played less, I would, because I've got that, so just say that I've got that kind of mindset, like, okay, well, I learned this, or that didn't work, but I'll play this again, and then I can see where I go. Next time I'll take the acorns and not the treehouse or whatever like that. But yeah, I feel like definitely if I was someone who played less games, then those wins or losses might mean more to me. I did actually, interestingly, was going to say that I'd read this article about how apparently you should try and let new players win a game, basically. Like, because and this comes from a paper that was done that was about gaming, and it was about how if someone wins on their first experience, I mean, it makes sense when you say it out loud, really, doesn't it? If someone wins during their first sort of game of something, or they feel like they can get a handle on it, then they're like, it's a crazy, like 75% more likely to want to play that again. And so I can see an argument for, well, maybe you should just like kind of softball people, or sort of like give them an easier go of it. I mean, I certainly think that,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it happen.
It would be a bit harsh if you didn't do that, if you just absolutely steamrolled someone after you just, their first time they sat down at a game.
At Warhammer Club, you'll have people that have joined the hobby and they've painted their first army and they're learning the rules and they're excited to go and play their first game, and they'll put on one of the groups. So is anyone up for having a practice, like my first game with me, I'm new to it, and people will go, yeah, I'll do that, and then they'll just absolutely steamroller.
No way.
And it's like, I don't understand why you'd ever want to do that, because surely you'd want to encourage someone else locally to be part of the scene.
That's great.
Have a new opponent.
But
I mean, it happens.
It is. Yeah, I can imagine. Some people are just a bit funny like that, aren't they? So, I would say that this, the topic, the question of does it matter, is kind of like is subjective, right? Because to some people it doesn't matter at all, and other people it does. Like, it very much means, Alex, he's a very competitive person by nature. It does matter to him more than it does some of the others at the table. and especially when we first were playing it is. But as he's sort of got more into games, he's definitely, I don't know, grown is probably the wrong word, but he's developed as a gamer, as a board gamer. He's like more into the theme, more into like the fun moments and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
less of the competitive side of it. But I do think that when we say does it matter, does winning matter? I definitely think wanting to win, like wanting to win while you're playing, or at least acting like you want to win, does matter. It's like you're saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone getting stressed out at you and being aggy with you or whatever is one thing, but it's just as bad if someone just sort of disconnects from the game and is like, "Oh well, whatever, this isn't for me."
Well, they
And
can throw the
that's a
game in
bit
that respect as well, can't
well,
they? Like if
yeah.
they're not playing it. I suppose there's another element to it though, that it's not necessarily whether you win or lose, but you have to want to achieve something in that game. So
Mm,
there are definitely games when you have a build up and a setup, and you're trying to line things up for a payoff later
yeah.
on. And those are the kind of games I enjoy, where there's mechanics that overlap, and eventually
Mm,
there's emergent play possibilities where
yeah.
two things come together and you go, I've created something new. But that paying off is almost the same as having won the game. I think I can
I
sometimes
totally
I enjoy
agree.
playing for
Yeah,
that.
I've definitely done it. Like even in Euro games or in whatever. Like I kind of get set on this. I kind of want this moment to happen. Like
Mm.
trying to think of an example.
What about Ra? I remember we and
Ra.
Al played Ra a little while ago, and you were building up towards having all the flood cards,
Yeah,
and that was that, and it paid off.
yeah, and it
And
did pay off. But and when we played, we are all trying to win the game. But the win for me was more about can
when
I
that happened,
because if anyone doesn't know, RA is a betting game effectively
mm.
where it's very push your luck. You're trying to outwit your other people at the table to what you're going for. You pull these tiles from a bag. It makes a shop effectively that you then
It's a
can
great
bid
game.
on. Yeah, amazing game. There are these tiles in there where you've got the Nile, but they're basically worthless unless you get a flood as well. So it's a very risky play, but it also gives a lot of points. And that was a sort of maybe third or fourth time I played it, and I'd seen someone else win with those, and so I'd sort of set that mission at the beginning, like, all right, if
Yeah,
I see, I mean, if I see any of those tiles, that I'm going to go for the river and the Nile. I mean, obviously it was a bit silly of me because I announced that to the table, so you guys both knew that it's what I wanted. But yeah, I managed to pull it off. But like you say, it did pay off for me. But if it hadn't, I would have still been happy with the fact that I had set something in motion, like you said,
yeah,
made like an engine, and then went, okay, it didn't get me over the finish line, but it did. It was a fun thing to have done. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes I would say that there are games that, and we've definitely all been there. I 100% have been there, where even games that I've played that I love, I think sometimes you're in the middle of a match or a game, and it's just not working out for you. Someone's
Mm.
taking the space that you needed for your plan, and then you get a bit of analysis paralysis because you're like, oh, what do I do now? I needed the 2 wheat. What do I do without the 2 wheat?
Yeah,
Whatever it is. Um, and I've definitely been in a space where I've just been a bit like dejected, just thinking I don't
yeah.
really
Me
know what to
too.
do here, and even then, like I think it does take a lot of mental fortitude to be like, even though these are just silly games that we're using to sort of decompress with and relax with, sometimes just the frustration of, oh man, I wanted the thing to work. Again,
Mm.
for me, it's not even about winning or losing, it's about being in the race. And that's kind of like, that's the thing I have to work with.
I think I got into that state, and sometimes I have to force myself not to fall into the trap of thinking that I fully understand the game mechanics, and therefore I figured out that I can't win anymore. Because
Sure.
actually, sometimes you have to trust the people that play tested and designed the game. They know
Yeah.
what works. Because I think in that game, I was convinced I was going to come last, and
Mm.
I ended up being like second. So not,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
scored
Close
far more
seconds, yeah.
points than than I
Yeah.
thought. Sorry, not than I wanted. I
Mm.
wanted all the points. But yeah, that was so that a little bit in the middle of that game that I got into a bit of a mindset where I was like, okay, well, this is
Mm.
pointless now, isn't it? Because I literally can't win.
Yeah.
I'm definitely coming last. So I guess that's also good game design will
Yeah.
sort of
And
negate that.
trust. I think what you're saying is definitely a trust thing, isn't it? Of like, you've got to give the game a bit of a chance. That's easier said than done sometimes, because sometimes you're playing a game and you're getting hit by randomness that's just not on your
Mm,
side. I mean, we're talking about, funnily enough, Twilight Imperium and Warhammer 40k are both similar in that they are a dice game. So you can do all of this kind of like preparation, right? I can have research the best stuff I can do. I could get all this strategic, tactical, like stuff that is tangible that I can look out for. All this research I could have done on how to play it and everything. But ultimately, I might just roll really badly, or I might
you can
just
do
pull the
everything
wrong
right.
card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is funny, really, that we can even ever get sort of frustrated with a game where it is just random nonsense anyway. So it's like, you know.
I mean, it's all make believe, isn't it? At the
Yes,
end of
well,
the day.
yeah, of course, yeah. I think you are right, though. There's just this balance between caring but not caring too much, and kind of it can be tough sometimes to kind of keep your energy up when you are just. I was playing Elder Sign the other day, and great game, Call of Cthulhu sort of style game, Lovecraftian kind of stuff, and it was very hard for me to not just go, well, it's the game. The game's not balanced, kind of thing, or the game's not very good. But everyone else at the table, they were having a wonderful time. Like, oh yeah, cool, we did it, really good, nice one getting that gun, and nice one getting this thing. Cool, I did my powers really cleverly, and I was over there like, yeah, okay. It doesn't matter what powers I use because the dice gods right now do not like me, so it didn't really matter.
It can happen, and sometimes you roll dice that just statistically are so unlikely to actually happen. So
Sure.
I've had, and they can win or lose your games. I've had it playing 40k, and I've essentially got to roll 10 dice. I'm looking for 2 ups. And if I roll at least 5 of them, I'll win the game. And then you go, okay, well, 9 ones. Excellent.
Amazing.
The odds of that are so slim, but it's going to happen.
But you see those moments, like you're talking about, like
They're funny.
little moments. They're so great. We had one with Twilight Imperium where it doesn't matter, but basically massive army versus these few little troops on the ground, and those troops became like these heroes because they kept just winning.
Just keep rolling sixes.
They kept rolling like hide. But so
do you
that's
think
cool.
that playing a co-op game removes the need to be a winner as such? If you're all a winner, do you think it entirely removes? Because I know that for me, it doesn't always. There's still a competitive part where it goes, oh, I could still be the winner of the winners.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying against the other players.
Kind of.
Okay.
So we play Zombicide with Chris and Sophie and quite regularly. And you're all on the same side and you're all trying to achieve the same goal. And if one of you loses, you will lose.
Sure.
But you can still find ways within that because to be the one that wins because you have a kill tally like of how many zombies you killed and you want to go and do the cool thing. And I think it's interesting because you actually end up you're trying to race to the weapons crate first, so you're trying to do this first, and you're still trying to win.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. I think that the really smart games kind of do key into that, right? Like an equivalent to Zombicide, another CMON game. They do another game called Massive Darkness 2, which I've got. Very, very similar. Big minis, rolling dice, but this one's a fantasy-themed killing monsters, like Dungeon Delve, as opposed to killing zombies. And even within that, it's got kind of like, similar thing of, well, I want to go get this loot. There's like loot piles everywhere, and it's a bit like, there's definitely been a moment I've been like, okay, Al, you deal with this, and I'm going to run down this corridor and get this because I think there's a rare item there that I kind of want, and then I can come back and help. And great example of that is Gloomhaven, because the idea is that you're a band of mercenaries that have come together. So all of you, while you're all just the same, it's a pure co-op game. You win together, you lose together, but you also have these little cards that have your own objective on that will effectively mean that your character kind of gets even more perk points or loot, like what money you're picking up from people, and also and technically you're not supposed to be sharing money. Like you can just obviously homebrew, like home rule that. But really, in the rules as written, you're not supposed to share money. So you can kind of, that moment of, well, do I help or do I loot all the ground because we've just, you just set off a bomb that killed a bunch of people and now I have a card that I could just loot all that money.
Yeah.
Or my character, you retire characters within it. So you might just go, well, I'm going to complete all these objectives. I need to be the person who kills the flame demon because I'm the one I need that to retire my character. So it adds like a bit of competitiveness to a cooperative game, which is cool.
It happens in even we did Edge of the Empire, and there's still times we're playing that, and all a made up story essentially, and he's still like, well,
Wait,
I want to do
yeah.
the cool thing in
Yeah,
this
you're
story.
talking about Edge of the Empire, the role-playing game to
Yeah,
Star Wars.
you can still win that.
Yeah, you can still win. Yeah, maybe we're getting into a deeper part of your personality here, Matt.
Yeah, maybe. He says,
No,
Will
but
says there's a wooden spoon on the table next to him from a tournament. So,
and what does it say?
oh, it's from, ironically, it's from a Masters tournament. So I was like ninth. So the top 8 of a local tournament scene went to the Masters playoff, but
Love it.
number 8 couldn't turn up. So number 9 got to come and play for
Oh
a day,
yeah.
and then lost every single game.
Oh gosh.
But it's good. I look at it like I got a wooden spoon when there was only 8 players rather than when there were 30 or 40 players, which
Yeah,
would be.
it's still great.
And I've never had one.
Going back to Gloomhaven, talking about is winning important or does it matter? Obviously, a lot of stuff, like let's take out the element that you're speaking about where there's this sort of natural competitiveness between different people at the table, but just wanting to be, you're speaking to almost like a Legolas and Gimli kill tallying, right? Like I'm the
Yeah.
best person in the fellowship. But even if you just say win or lose versus the game, there are some games where it really feels like there's a game behind me, this Burgle Bros 2. Amazing game about a heist in a casino, really fun. That game and I and Alex too, it's like my nemesis. Oh, nemesis. It's this game that I've got a vendetta with because we keep failing it. And it isn't, I don't even think it's that hard, but I just think that it just so happens that I'll say something like, oh, this one's going well, and then it beats us. And there's obviously we have beaten it, but it's just more often than not we lose, and that
Yeah.
has become quite a funny thing to be like when we play it, everyone's like locked in, even though it's just this silly game, because everyone's like we have to beat this
That ties
game.
back in to what you were saying earlier about like should you let someone win their first game as well? Because it made me think of
Sure.
We went to Scott's a little while ago. You couldn't make it, but we played the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
What's it called? It's the
Journeys Through Middle Earth, I believe.
Really fun game, but we ended up failing the first session, and you ended up thinking, oh,
Right.
wasn't this sort of the high that you'd want at the end of a game night where you go, cool, we all did it. It was just kind of like,
Yeah, sure.
oh, and you lost, and
you lost.
You have to shuffle some negatives into your deck, and then we can try again, and then we lost
Oh,
again.
So that's what So that's what I was going to ask you, because Gloomhaven, very similar. It's very technical, difficult game, and then you can get to the end of a level and then lose. And I like it in games where you kind of fail forwards. So you failed, but you can still keep going. You just get a negative added on, but you can still play a new level. But Gloomhaven doesn't do that. Gloomhaven just it's like, oh, you failed. Well, go back to the beginning. It's like resetting a level. And I was wondering, did Journeys Through Middle Earth did it sort of make you restart?
No, we failed the first encounter, and then you went on to the next encounter with a debuff in your deck, like laziness or something like that. It's just a card that you can't play.
You're lazy. But you see, that's interesting because I like it when games do stuff like almost like a balancing, where I would rather the game not put a negative. I'd rather the game give me a buff, right? Pandemic Legacy has a really good mechanic in it where you're playing through the months of the year. Pandemic classic co-op game about. And in the Legacy one, you're playing 12 games the months of the year. And if you fail one, you continue on, right? But you continue on to the next one. Funny story. Me and the guys were playing Pandemic Legacy at the start of 2020, a monthly game. We passed in January, passed in February, and we failed the mission on March 2020. And a new COVID pandemic started. So don't want to say we caused it, but
but you did, kind of.
but maybe.
And it's on camera, you've admitted it.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, blah, blah, blah. When you play that game, you fail forwards because, yes, we failed the march, but then it gave us more funding, the theming being that, things have gone really out of control. So then you got more good cards in your deck for when you played the April kind of game. And it was really fun. And it meant that, you had sort of this board state that was a bit tougher to deal with because of the scars of what had happened, but you were more prepared to win, and it sort of balance the other way. But yeah, it sounds like this punished you for being bad rather than encouraged you to
Yeah.
have a good game.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the payoff of that is. Maybe I'll understand it when we play another session, and maybe
Yeah, sure.
that negative becomes a positive later. So, do you think in a co-op game, someone wanting to win too much can ruin it for others?
Ooh, definitely say that. Just like anything, that kind of the etiquette and the kind of relationship of the people at the table does matter, like their interactions matter, attitudes, I should say. And the main way I would
Why'd
say
you look at me
that
when you
kind
said
of
that?
no, no, I'm saying like the main way I would say it presents itself is in what they call like alpha gaming, where someone has very strong feelings about opinions about how the best way to play this
Yeah,
scenario
yeah,
is,
exactly.
and then they just take over like, well, you could do that, I guess, but that's not
Yeah.
going to win us the
Well,
game,
no,
or
no,
we're
no,
going to
don't do
lose if you
that.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
And which is why there's some games out there that I love, because they're there's kind of like too much going on that for you, like Spirit Island's a great example. Spirit Island is a game that is almost anti. It's a very cooperative game, but it's anti alpha gaming, because you've got too much on your own plate to be dealing with everyone else's, and you can very much interact with each other, and you can sort of call for help, like, oh, can you help me? Can you flood this part? Or can you move those guys? And if we could group them, that'd be great. But I can't play your character for you, and I couldn't possibly
Right.
keep your character and all of what you've got going on in my
In
head
your
as
head.
well as mine. I'm sure that someone could, but it's perfectly kind of separated, where you're doing your thing, you've got all your stuff, your section of the island to deal with, but so that then an alpha gamer can't really do what they would do.
What was the game we played a while ago? I think it's by the same people that made Zombicide. We had this sort of dice rolling phase about hordes of aliens, and you were all trying to.
Yeah, hey, another Simon. That's the
Yeah.
hat trick. But yeah, that is
So the
called
pressure in that
Project
section.
Elite.
That's it. Yeah. That pressure just means that you can't dictate what other people are doing because you have to focus on what you're doing, and that's
Yeah,
quite a cool mechanic.
yeah, really good example. And even if someone was trying to alpha game during that, it would kind of all fall apart, because
Yeah.
you would be
Because they're not
like,
doing their stuff.
I can't. Yeah, I can't listen to you. I'm doing my thing. And
Yeah.
the perfect part of that game is that you're totally right. You set up, right, everyone, this is what we're going to do. And even if you sort of say someone's like team captain or whatever, that's kind of thematic, but you don't have to do what they've told you to do. And also things develop differently in that game, right? You might have a game plan that doesn't work because turns out I can't roll any feet, I can't move anywhere, guys. So
It's dice again.
I'm just going to have to shoot other people. Yeah, that's a great one for that.
So I have a question for you. One more.
Yeah, please.
If you aren't playing to win or lose, why are you playing board games? I know my answer, but I want to know what yours is.
Well, I mean, my answer is to have good fun times with my friends, to sort of have nice interactions, to have a challenge. I think I like it's definitely a mix. It's have fun thematic times at the table, and it's there's a part of my brain that likes that sort of niggly bit where you get to unknot a puzzle, that you kind of put together this little like a Euro game, right? When you get your engine going, it's like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
I did it. It's doing a thing. Like we were saying before, I don't really care if I win or lose with that. It's getting the engine going that's fun. It's if I can't get anything going, I just feel like I'm aimless. That's when I don't necessarily enjoy it as much, or it feels like I can't. And I think I can say that I know this about you, where you, similar to me, don't necessarily like a game where if I'm sort of planning ahead a turn, I don't mind if that kind of gets scuttled because someone has intentionally sort of got in my way, or that's part of the gameplay. But what I don't like is when it's almost no point in looking at the board state or any of my cards or any of my pieces until it's my go, because
you don't interact with each other. Yeah,
you don't interact with each other, and also the boards just can be so different. So you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait.
Oh, yes. Yeah. In 4 terms time, there's no point in planning now, because after 4 people have gone, this is going to be entirely different. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some games that are definitely
input.
like that. But so I suppose my answer is kind of every answer. But yeah, the main thing is I'm just here to have fun with friends and little thematic moments. Theming is just so important to me. That's like the main thing. How about you?
So when I come to your house, it's normally there's food and you have the heating on, and it's you've kind of answered the same way as I would. It's good to see. It's a good excuse to catch up with friends, and you have fun memories. You often make memories anyway, especially doing things like Edge of the Empire. Well, I think you recorded some of them years ago, and there's some really funny times
Yeah,
doing that.
definitely.
And like those moments when people roll dice badly and stuff. It's funny. It's and yeah, I like figuring out mechanics and engines within games and understanding new rule sets. And it's a challenge, isn't it? Quite often a
Yeah,
puzzle.
definitely. I think that that's one thing about wargaming or competitive card games like Magic the Gathering and any of that, is because of that element where it's twofold, right? You've got this deck building or your list building like you'd have in wargaming, where I think you said you used a term that was great, your kind of skill expression. And it's like that kind of, oh, I'm really tinkering with this and figuring out, an engine or a kind of a plan of attack, the strategy there.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Magic the Gathering. That's the same with Flesh and Blood. Like these card games, like you get to build this deck and you're hoping that
You're trying to align
the
the stars.
randomness. Yeah. You're trying to align everything to be like, right, let's see if I can do my thing. Let's see if I can set the trap or whatever it is. And that's just something that I think that, that is unique about these competitive multiplayer games, like games particularly because you could spin that up 1,000 times, right? It's like the difference between playing through the Gears of War story versus playing a competitive online shooter like an Apex Legends or something where, you're only playing on one map on Apex Legends, but you're playing it with other people in the mix and the randomness of what they might do and what they're bringing to the table. And I feel like wargaming to me is like that to the nth degree. It's like,
that's what I really enjoy in a game is when there's a building element to whatever you are bringing forward. So I always think of like 40K as it's like a strategy game, but it's a bit like chess. But instead of you have the set pieces, you've got one rook. No, you haven't. You've got two. Then that's the first mistake. 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops.
There you go.
And that's your standard setup. But imagine you could change that and you say, well, I have a certain number of points I can spend, and each one of those pieces has a points value. I might choose to have just 4 rooks and a single bishop or something. And then you are bringing an engine that you've built to play against an engine that someone else has built. There are board games that do that as well. But I just like that element of, I've not played much Magic the Gathering, but that is the part of it that appeals to me. And the same with 40K is I've made a list. I've looked at the rules. I've thought about what I could do, and I'm building up towards my go turn where it's all going to happen, or it isn't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't. I mean, every time we talk about 40K, I'm like, oh, maybe I should start playing some, but I just don't know if I can do it. Let's play some Magic the Gathering. I've already got some Magic cards.
The trouble with 40K is you can't spend time thinking, because especially if you're playing against the clock, 3 hours sounds like a long time until you're doing it. And then if you're not, that could turn into 5 hours. It could turn into 6 hours, which is fine casually.
Yeah, sure. Oh, man. Okay, well, we're going to have to do another episode. Yeah, I should do it. We should definitely do another episode all about wargaming and Warhammer, because I think there's a lot there that I want to talk to you about and know about. There's a whole world there. And all the 40K freaks we can entertain.
I know some people that would join and have a big conversation.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Okay. So one game that I have to talk about is Thunder Road by Restoration Games, which is
Love it.
An amazing game. Because if we're talking about does winning matter, that is the game that for me, it's just like, no, it's just a crazy fun time. Like, it's really fun to win in that game, but it's just complete chaos.
It's weird because it's hyper competitive as well. So you are trying to win, but you can't be angry if you lose, because the chain of events that can occur is A, funny, and B, you have no control over it. There's nothing you can do.
No,
it's one of the games I've enjoyed the most recently.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, I mean, so it's like Carmageddon or Death Race or whatever, isn't it? The game, kind of like a Mad Max.
That's the one, Mad Max.
And you're all just trying to, you are racing, but you're also trying to kill off all your opponents. And in fact, I think in a 3 or 4 player game, the end of the road like the finish line doesn't even appear until someone's out of the game completely.
Yeah.
So you one person has to go down. I played this game with my mum and my family.
I've played it with my parents as
well.
well.
And she literally, first off, I'll say she loved it, but she started the game and I was like, right, so here's how it's going to play out. We're all smashing our cars into each other, and you might hit someone off into the cliffside, and then that'll eliminate them completely from the game. That car. You've only got 3 cars. Once they're all gone, you're out of the game, and then we get the finish line, and then it's who gets there first, or who eliminates everyone else. And my mum was mortified. She was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to eliminate each other. That's not nice." Cut to 30 minutes later, she was whooping and hollering as she smashed one of my cars off a ravine or whatever. She was so into it, and and
that's what it brings out in everyone.
Yeah,
I think it's just a great game on the topic of winning or losing, because you spend a whole game trying to win, but actually if you do win at the end, it's a bonus, because the fun is the trying to win rather than the actual winning.
100%. Like, I've been completely out. That is a game where I have been completely out. There's no way I'm winning because I'm eliminated, but I'm whispering in Ben's ear like, "Oh, you got to get the helicopter now. You can smash him. You can absolutely crush him," and just having a good time watching everything else unfold. And because of the nature of the game, the finish line goes down once someone's eliminated. So it means that you're not getting eliminated and then you're sitting there for ages. Because normally I would say I don't like player elimination in board games at all, but this is the exception because it is the clock. It is the end game condition. It's effectively like saying, okay, everyone else gets to play one more round and then we end it.
Well, it's a rare game where it's actually fun to watch, even if you're not, providing you've been in it perhaps and you had a stake in it to start with, but it can just be funny to watch what happens to other people. So.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, Thunder Road, what a game! I need to play the expansion. Demolition Derby.
Yeah, I've got that, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh yeah, we'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay, well,
10 out of 10.
Well, let's move on. Unless there's anything else you want to say there about, like, to wrap up.
Who won this conversation?
Who won this conversation? Yeah, let's get into that. That's the real thing. Well, time will tell. Once I get into the edit, I'll be able to see who spoke the longest.
Oh, is that how we're doing it?
Yes. And if we're going on volume, it's me.
What's it called? I've got to do now. Is it filibustering or something? Well, I just keep talking.
Keep talking. Yeah,
don't give you the opportunity to stop me.
Oh, that's one thing, actually. Just before we recorded, you mentioned the term. Wait, what did you call it?
Oh, I thought it was called king making.
Yes.
But you said win making.
Well, yes. I mean, it's all much for muchness. It's just to take away the gender of it. But when I say win making, I'm meaning there's multiple people at the table playing. Like in the scenario I said, we're playing Twilight Imperium, and I know that I'm not going to win, but then it's between you and Alex, and I'm the win maker. I get to decide who wins because you're 1 point away from winning, so's he. Who do I attack or who do I support? Whoever I do that to is going to win the game. So I could and in Twilight Imperium, you quite literally could. There is a support for the throne is like a card that I can literally just give someone a victory point. So you could actually just end the game just because you were like, well, 8 hours in, I'd like to go home. I'm not going to win and I'm bored or whatever. Or Matt's a much better friend of mine. Sorry, Al. Matt's going to win this game. Or
that's on tape as well.
It is. Yeah.
Tape. That shows my age, isn't it? That's on tape.
On tape. So, but that's what I would consider win making. But what is it? Is that a term?
Yeah, so I'm thinking the same thing, just with a different spin on it. You could tie it into Warhammer in a tournament sense. You can affect somebody else's path or the chance of running into a different player by letting them win versus you winning, or not to say letting them win, but you could throw the game so that you know that this person's going to go forward, and then they might pair with someone else.
Oh wow, I hadn't considered.
There is a bit of manipulation around that.
Okay.
Or some tournaments do pairings based on the points you scored on your path to victory, I suppose, is the way to do it. So if you've scored well in all of your games, you'll play against someone else that's scored well. So that people try and manipulate the win paths using that as well. And you could do something like submarining. You can deliberately lose your first game so that your next opponent brings you down in the table, so you're less likely to run into high-level players for the rest of the tournament because you...
Oh, wow. So I think we've definitively answered there then that winning does matter quite a lot to some people in board gaming. Certainly in wargaming. I mean, amazing.
I don't know how prevalent it is, but I like to claim that's what I'm doing when I lose my
When
first
you
game at a tournament.
tank a game. Well, I'm
Yeah,
tanking it. I'm just
yeah, did that on purpose.
Great. All right, cool. Well, let's move on to the final bit of today's podcast, which is the Game Master's Mailbag. So, as this is the Game Master's Mailbag, right? Just to give you the premise, because I didn't give you any prep for this. Sorry about that, mate. But
On the spot.
basically, I've got a form that people have filled in, and they answer these like different questions that they want. They're all sort of vibes based, just funny, silly questions. And then we're gonna look at some of those answers they've given, and then given that, we're gonna then recommend a game to them and why we think that they might like it. Because these are the first episodes, I'm going to cheat here, and these are people we know who have done these, who very kindly answered. And there's an extra challenge for you to determine who you think, out of the people who would do this, who you think it is. So I'm going to tell you the questions and the answers they answered. So when I asked them about their vibe, they said strategic. Okay.
Okay.
The last board game they enjoyed playing was Wingspan. Classic by Stone My Games. Have you played Wingspan? It's really good.
No.
It's like a Euro game.
It's good.
Yeah, Euro game, little tableau builder. Okay, you're in the Crystal Maze. What style of challenge do you ask for? They answered mental. Okay, they took on a mental challenge.
Okay.
Their go-to puzzle is a crossword. Sunday afternoon, they're watching on TV out of a long list of all different things. They said Jurassic Park, Die Hard, or Back to the Future.
It's thrown me now.
Okay, a couple more out of like Star Wars, Star Trek, all the big ones, James Bond, all the big franchises. They chose Lord of the Rings. Favorite video games. This is a big clue. World of Warcraft, Battlefield, and Rainbow Six Vegas. And finally, they really love The West Wing, and they lean towards adventure, deductive, and social games. Any ideas who you think that is? I know this means nothing to anyone else listening.
Yeah, everyone else watching knows the answer.
Sure.
It's got to be Cam, hasn't it?
It is Cam. Yeah, you got it.
It was the last few questions that I got it in. It was the Battlefield and West Wing.
Yeah. He's also the only person I know who almost failed college because of World of Warcraft, but I'm sure he won't mind me saying that.
No. It was almost failed.
Almost failed. No, he didn't really. But I remember I used to take the mickey because I'd go around and be like, what do you do again? Because he would just play, like anyone. The World of Warcraft's just quite consuming, isn't it? But yeah.
So he graduated in spite of World of Warcraft. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. If anything,
more of an achievement.
More of an achievement, yeah. They put that, he gets it on it's like gives you letters WOW at the end of your name.
I always say that after his name anyway. So
yeah, wow.
Every time I see him.
So what games are we going to recommend? So tactical, I'll go first. So the game that I would recommend for Cam is Hegemony. I always pronounce that wrong, so I'm pleased I got it first try. So the reason I think that Cam would like Hegemony, it's pretty heavy, and I don't think he'd be able to table it often, but if he got into it, I think he would love it, because he loves his strategy, he loves, he loves all his Civ games and things like that, and the Civilization game, sorry, on computer, Age of Empire and all that kind of stuff. This is literally a simulation of a contemporary nation. So it is, and it was made by these guys who studied all about how society works and all the different levels of power and people and class and how they come together to make a society. And they basically made a board game out of it because they were like, oh, this is a fun little simulation we've made. Like players take on different aspects. It's asymmetric, so you all play differently. You're playing as the working class, the middle class, capitalist class, and the state, and all of you need each other, and you're kind of feeding to and from each other, and you've all got different goals to kind of win the game. And it just whenever I think about that game, I think, if like Cam was closer and we were able to play more IRL, I would definitely dive into this with him. But yeah, it's pretty full on. And the other one is up his street too, and that's Twilight Struggle, which is a 1v1, like an absolute classic game about the Cold War. And
Okay.
yeah, just because of its theming and because it's this sort of quite tactical game, a card game where you're kind of figuring out how to sort of win the Cold War effect, and it just looks really, really great. I'll go into that another time. I might talk to Cam about it one time. So yeah, but that's what I would recommend. What about you?
From a theming perspective, you're going to have to fill in the name here. I think it's called Dauntless, but maybe of the hexagon tiles. And the
Undaunted.
Undaunted, that was close, wasn't it? That's so
It was
close.
very close. Yeah.
That's got some strategy to it. It's in a theme that would be up Cam's street as well.
Yeah, definitely like World War II. We played the new updated version,
the sci-fi
the kind of futuristic one. Yeah, that was really cool. But I think you're right. I think he would like the World War II version of that game, just on theme. Yeah, that's a great little game. We should play some more of that.
He's probably played this, but Arcs is something that has a lot of strategy. And again, you're going to have to fill in the name, but we played something that was similar to Arcs before. There was different coloured teams. One of them was red and it had robots. And you had to take territory.
Cry Havoc.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a great
game. Wow, that was in there. Yeah, Cry Havoc, great game. Kind of like a dudes on a map game, I think they call them. It's area control, isn't it? But that had a really cool mechanic in it where it wasn't just about fighting and scrabbling over the different places. Like, you weren't just fighting. You could initiate a fight purely to capture prisoners or like mine the area while you were there, and you had to figure out whether or not your opponent was actually going to do that or what they were going for. Yeah, you're right. That was a cool game. I should dig that out. We should play that.
Yeah, we'll play it with Cam.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. So there you go, Cam. There's a couple of ones for you. Twilight and Struggle, I think, it's pretty much impossible to get, and Homogeny is about £65. So you're welcome.
So he's got game recommendations. He's been summed up in a series of questions and congratulated on still managing to graduate by two people that are definitely worthy of judging. So
yes, definitely. Absolutely.
It's a win all round for Cam.
What a win. What a win for him. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap that up there, but thanks so much for chatting with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
That was really fun. And I'll definitely get you back on and we'll talk all about I was going to say World of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft. Warhammer 40k.
You can talk at me about that.
Yeah. It's not quite as grim.
It's got to be grim and dark, otherwise I'm not into it.
Okay, good. Well, good note. All right, mate, thanks so much.
Thanks. See you later.
See ya.